just six. Okay, so yeah. So today we'll be learning about CSS framework. So whatsoever you are doing by now, like for example, I was selecting an element and giving it some property along with that, using the uh, descendant selectors and giving it some properties. Let's assume properties like border, properties like let's say display inline flex, display block, any property which I was doing before. Now, all these things we can be easily doing using this Bootstrap. What is Bootstrap? Bootstrap is basically a CSS framework, right? We have different frameworks with us. One of them is Bootstrap. One is the Material UI. One is the Bulma. And one is the Semantic UI. We have many frameworks with us, but we'll be like learning about Bootstrap. Like if it is comfortable for you to like go through all the other things, it's like really good. But we'll be like getting into Bootstrap and letting you know how things work there and how we can directly make use of the classes which are being pre. Basically, what happens is whenever you go to an organization, right? Let's assume this is an organization. So there is not like just one developer who is working over things. Like this is an organization. Itself is a very big company, huge company, just like Nagarro, right? So there must be, let's assume, just for an instance, there are 5 developers at the same time, right? There are 5 developers. So it is not possible, right, that each and every developer has the same way of writing the code, and each and every developer has the similarity of like if I'm comfortable with using descendant combinator, but the other one is not using descendant combinator. The other one will directly use the make of ID classes and pseudo elements, blah blah blah. There can be different stuff, right? So the way of writing the code is not the same, right? Way of writing is not the same. So what basically was done, like they were like, let's assume a good bunch of people, like there were 4 or 5 people, those who like sat together and discussed this problem. They generated a framework named as Bootstrap, wherein majorly all the functionalities are being pre-written. For example, if you want to give a border, there is a class regarding a border. If you want to give, let's assume you want to use like grid system, I'll be telling everything just for example right now. Just for the grid system, there is something regarding the grid. If you want to give some margin padding, then if there is MT, MB, PT, PB, PL, like padding top, padding left, padding margin bottom, margin top. These are basically the classes which are being already pre-written by these good bunch of developers. Like they are considered to be like one of those top-notch people. They have written this Bootstrap, and also the person who was like majorly responsible for writing Bootstrap, that person only like originated Twitter as well. So the Twitter and Bootstrap are basically done by like the contribution is of the same person there. So uh, just for like extra knowledge, not majorly useful. Like similarly, all these five, they generally want the organization want all the 5 coders to understand each other's language and to like write in a better, efficient way, so that if the one is writing a code, so the third can also understand and work together over some new project or over the mistakes which are there in the project, right? So that's why accumulative of a single kind of format is being like generated and like basically for the organization purpose and for the betterment and for the ease of it, right? So this is basically the purpose. And basically, if just assume that if you are like making a window and you are like creating huge amount of code, like that is not optimized code. That is something which is not optimized, right? So this code is basically which will be provided by this framework, where that is a bootstrap. That will be the most optimized code, and you don't have to make classes for each and everything. If you want to just uh, make use of, like if you just want to make it responsive, so you'll be like using flex boxes and all and a grid system, right? So it is just like use the class. No need to worry what is written behind the class, and it will just make your code optimize and like make the task faster, reduce your labor work of like thinking about things and just directly using it. And I guess that is all about the basic intro. Now we'll be like going to our Bootstrap. So simply I'll be typing Bootstrap in my browser, bootstrap.com. So here comes your framework. I'll directly reach out to read the documents. So here we can give it a start, like a quick start sort of thing is given. Like CDN links are given, JS and all, right? So before that, I'll take a step back and yeah, see, in the very first page, there are two CDNs given, right? Include via CDN. So basically, I don't want to install it in my project. I simply want it to be directly rendered through a CDN. CDN is a content delivery network, right? What I want is I don't want to install Bootstrap in any of my project. Install nahi karna chahta. I just want directly to be used through a CDN. CDN is content delivery network. So what I'll do is I'll directly copy that link which was provided to me. I'll simply paste it in my HTML just like I paste that CSS file, my style sheet. In a similar way, I'll do it. I'll paste it, and along with that, there are two more links. No, there is one more link with the JavaScript file. Like if I want to make use function, I want to make use of some functionality which are being pre-written there, so I have to include the script file as well. Just a second. I have to make this, I have to make use of the script file as well. So basically, I'll be copying all the links and I'll be pasting it to their respective places where they should be, right? Okay. So initially, I'm making, yeah, if someone saying something, I am unable to edit. Oh, okay. That is something which I don't know how to fix. Right. I'm making a folder of lecture 6 first. Then I'm making it. Right. So this is where we link our style sheet, right? So in the similar place, just above style sheet, I'll let you know why. Just above style sheet, I'll be pasting this CDN link of CSS only. Like it's written clearly written CSS. I'll copy this and I'll simply paste it right here. This is the above link is of my Bootstrap CSS only. This is of Bootstrap, and the below one is my self-made style sheet, right? Don't be confused between these two, right? Uh, Along with that, I had one more link, right? I had one more link here. This is my JavaScript bundle coupon. I'll copy this. Now, what I'll do is above my body, I'll write SCR, right? I'll give SCR, then it will automatically show me the suggestions of script SCR, right? I click on that. It is asking me for the source. I'll simply paste it inside the source, which I copied it from the like. Just a second. This I don't need to write script on my own. It is already pre-written. I'll simply go towards the bottom of my body. I'll not write anything. I'll simply paste the copied link. Right. This is my word for again Bootstrap, and then I'm like good to go and good to use with my Bootstrap thing. Right. Let me show you by a basic example. This is my heading, right? If I remove my, like, if I just simply comment my Bootstrap classes, right? Then let's see what happens. Let us like, go to the live server. Just like observe the heading to some extent, like observe the pattern of which it is written, observe the thickness, boldness, and like try to figure out the details right now, right? If we can see that it's like little darker and like um, let's just learn about how this font size is present right now without adding the bootstrap. And now, if I'll comment it back, like uncomment it back, like the heading which we gave automatically changed. this gave me a proof that yes, whatever the bootstrap I was, whatever framework I was adding, whatever bootstrap I was adding, like that is now being attached to my HTML page. Again, we can see right now, if I've added the type of heading is somewhat like little thinnish, and the content is being like adjusted directly towards the left side. This T is directly starting from the left side. Now, if I just comment that back, all my bootstrap classes back, then see there is a small gap between like a bit before this T, and it's like getting a gap from the top as well as the font size and the font like what's that, like the font style is not being the same like it was with adding this bootstrap class, right? So simply I need to use the bootstrap class, so I'll be adding it, and now there's a huge change. There is a that's proof that yes, your bootstrap is being added. So what we can do now, we'll simply go to read the documents, and we'll be like learning about few important properties side by side, right? This is the introduction. If you want to read it, you can, like how CDN works and how CDN works and how you want to paste up your links and all. That is a very basic thing. So we'll be like going directly towards our layout stuff. From here, you need to know things like the breakpoints. So what are breakpoints, right? What are breakpoints? Let us see first that breakpoints. I hope so. I gave a heading bootstrap, right? Yeah, bootstrap. And I'm just penning it down so that it's easier for you to remember. Always add your bootstrap CSS above your style sheet. And again, the reason to that is yesterday we got to know that the flow of the code is from top to bottom, right? The code of the flow is from top to bottom, and something which is like encountered towards the bottom side that is encountered lately is being given more preference, right? It's been given more preference. So in the similar way, if we link our style sheet, like if there is like bootstrap and then we are having a style sheet, right? So the functionality which is being pre-written in the bootstrap and we want to overwrite it using our own, like according to our own usage and according to our own requirement, then yes, it will be adapted. And if the reverse would have happened, like bootstrap is above, bootstrap is below and style is above, then automatically bootstrap is being used lately, and this will be like now responsible for the changes there. So I generally prefer it to be in order of bootstrap above and style sheet below, just to like reduce the redundancy and reduce like the chances of being uh, like chances of facing problems, right? So just keep in mind, and we are good to go then. And always paste the link. Like don't forget to copy and paste that CSS and the script tag. Script tag has to be in the bottom, and script tag CSS tag has to be in the head, right? So add tags. These are add CDNs. These are very important. So right, we were talking about breakpoints. Cool. So what are breakpoints, right? Let us see by an example, then I'll explain. What I'm doing is I'm simply, this is my heading, I'm changing it to Bootstrap, that because we are running Bootstrap, right? Bootstrap. Here, I'm making a paragraph. I'm making it like Lorem 45, and I'll be saving and running it. It's been already running, I guess, right? Okay. So what I'm doing is just make thing little, let's just inspect it out and see what happens, right? Just inspect it out and see what happens. Uh, how can I? Okay, I'm just doing a small change for now. Just ignore it. I'll show what I'm doing, right? Ignore it for a while. Let's let me break in. Cool. Uh, Okay. So see, what I've done is just ignore the things. Let's just assume that nothing is being written. It's only the paragraph which is being written, right? So, like this is like my full screen kind of stuff. If you see the gap between the right side of ending of my paragraph and towards the left side of the ending of the paragraph, it's like a very huge and very wide kind of gap, right? But if I reduce my size towards, let's say, towards a smaller screen, towards the like responsive side, towards a smaller screen, then you can see the text is being automatically adjusted and it's like reducing its value from top to down, right? I'll go a little deep, and then this rem will automatically be like shifted towards the left, towards the bottom side, and this gap is slowly and gradually decreasing. If you see, the gap is greater than this bootstrap, the bootstrap which is being written, and if I start reducing things, then the gap is being reduced automatically. So these are basically the breakpoints over which our computer knows what are different sizes over which you need to break your screen and divide the parts accordingly, right? So the responsive behavior, I would say, is considered to be as a breakpoint. And just to understand it in layman language, let's assume we have let's assume we have four, right? Four different breakpoints. Um, let's make it 980, let's make it 680, and let's make it 380. See, just an assumption, the breakpoints are a little different from this. Right. Let's assume we have four different kind of screens. If my screen size is 1200 and above, then I want this to be like just taking, this is the margin there, this to be like taking, let's assume 7 words in a row, right? 7 words in a row, just for example, 7 words in a row. But if my screen is like 980 and below, then I want that the 7 reduces to either 5 or 6 words in a row. And if my screen further reduces the size, then I want like 5 words in a row. And then if it's like 380 and less, then just 3 words in a row, like somewhat like that, right? Three in a row. So this is basically what breakpoints are. Breakpoints, now, if you'll see in my documentation part, right? The breakpoints here are considered to be as for different kind of screens. Then if the screen is extra large stands for like if the size of the screen is more than 1400 pixels, then it is considered to be as a breakpoint for extra large screen. Similar extra large screen. If the screen is like less than 12 greater than 1200, just 1200. So it's just like extra large and so on, 992, 768, 576, and less than 576, it's like not considered yet. So small, medium, these are the ways which will be like this class infix is the way how we'll be encountering it with our with using our bootstrap, right? This is just for understanding. This breakpoint is just for basic normal English, and this is how the pinkish style is how we'll be using it in our bootstrap. Okay, let's try to find more things with it. Right. What we were doing earlier was just a second, right? Where is this? Like, see, yesterday we did media queries, right? It is the same way. This media query can easily be replaced using this, like, this, I would say this extra small icons, this class, generally class infix, right? The class infix. We can use it that way as well. That media breakpoint SM has to be this, and these are basically how we'll be using things instead of directly writing the media query. So this is like the bootstrap class which is being pre-written. This is how we're going to do it. And which example will I should start with the breakpoint? Yeah, right. So this is not a big thing. So we're not moving in it. We'll be like moving towards a breakpoint. I hope you got to know about breakpoints and why are we using breakpoint. It is basically the alternative of the media query, like the alternative of using media query. And it's like despite of writing the entire thing, we have the code there. Alternative of media query. Alternative of this media. If I'll move towards my container part. Container part is something which is a little like important, and you will be using it everywhere inside it. right? So see, this container basically contains a fundamental block of a bootstrap contain pad and all. So just ignore all these things. This container is basically a pre-written class. What happens is, let's assume I've not written anything here, right? I have not written anything here, like just like the past scenario. This is just my paragraph. If I go to my documentation, my paragraph is considered to be inside, like considered to not to give any of the margin, not to give any of the styling, if nothing is being added, right? So what I'll do is I'll simply go inside my H1. Just a second now. So what I'll do is I'll simply go inside my H1, like I'll enclose my H1 also inside a section. Let's say I'm including it inside a section. Right. Now both the things are inside my section. Now what I'll do is, let's see yet, is there any spacing? No, there is no spacing yet. So what I'll do it, I'll make the use of Bootstrap pre-written classes. So I'll write the class here and I'll give it a class of container, right? If I give it a class of container, let's see what happens. Container automatically gave it some of the margin towards the left and right side. And if I'll inspect it, then yes, we can see this way. We can see in this way that the margin of 46 is being already like it was written inside the bootstrap and it is being already given, right? If we'll inspect again, then yes, see the margin is already being given 46 to the container or to the any of the element over which I give the class bootstrap class container, right? So I hope so you got to know about container. So if I change this container from container to container fluid, then let's see what happens, right? Container fluid. Then that's a very like almost containing 100% of the width. That's that kind of stuff. Like it is not given any of the margin. Like it is not given any of the margin. Only the padding is being given inside it. Like when we give container, the margin is there, and when we give container fluid, then the margin is not there. Only the padding stuff is there. If we just inspect this out, then we can see there is no margin, but the padding stuff is there, right? Padding stuff is there. But on the other hand, when we were using just the container, then inspecting over it, right? Then padding is there, of course, padding is there, and margin is also there. That is being taken automatically. That's like because of Bootstrap. So we are not responsible how much margin is being there and how much is not. So that depends on the screen size as well. That is like the most optimized code written by those huge brain developers. So we are not concerned about that. We just look into the functionality, right? So hopefully you got the difference between you got to know about what containers and container fluid does. Like see, container fluid, the basically is 100% towards all breakpoints. So I just gave you example with that, right? And container is like responsible with breakouts. Right? Okay. So if I'll make use of my like container in a different way, right? If I want my breakpoints to also being added in it. So what I can do is uh, just a second, I'm just giving you examples with it. Okay, so if I give it a container at let's say medium, container medium, then let's see what happens. See, right now it is just acting like I've given it a container. But when it comes out to be like towards the medium screen, in the range of a medium screen, then this container kind of stuff gets removed from it. Like removed in the sense it is not being given the margin right now. The margin is being removed from this side. And if I give it like not from the medium one, I want to give it from the small one, right? Then I see, then yes, automatically the space came back. And when my screen size, where is the screen size? Like, yes, when my screen size turns out to be less than 540 pixels, or I guess 576 is the criteria, right? Less than 576 or 540, we'll see to that. Then this container class will be like added over my uh, HTML page. Let's see, it's yet not 576 and below. Once it reaches 576, then see what happens. Automatically the margin is being reduced because we gave it a class of container. Remove when it is small, right? Container small, right? So this is how we can make use of different like breakpoints in this container medium, container large. It totally depends on your usage. Generally, what we make use of is just we make containers so that it looks evenly throughout the entire layout of ours. And this is how we do it, like adding the class as the container. This is like default container. And as you can see that by an example or by trying it on your own, I explained about fluid. These two are important aspects, and not much of it, right? Again, then we'll be moving towards our grid system. This grid is like also very important thing. Like everything inside Bootstrap is important. So I'm just giving you a glimpse. Go through it very carefully and try out different things which are present inside, right? Now, what is a grid? Let me try to explain it once, right? This grid is being little important. I explained about breakpoints and about uh, container, right? Container, container fluid, small or medium according to your usage, as well as container fluid. Just jotting it down for your like syllabus kind of thing so that you can go and check out if there is some kind of problem for you guys. See, container, what container does is it gives margin throughout, uh, removes margin uh, below particular breakpoint. Right, this breakpoint basically stands for this. These are the breakpoints. The small, medium, large, extra large, extra large. These are the breakpoints, right? And container fluid will not give margin, only padding. Like padding is in both the cases. So just writing down only padding, and that too will be like 100% maximum, right? 100% maximum. 100% width, not maximum width in this case. 100% width. So hope so this was clear. Now we are learning about grids, right? What grids are? What are grids? See, let's assume this is my viewport. Right? This is my viewport. Now the viewport of mine is considered to be of a 12 unit. We are not considered about what unit is. Let's assume unit is just a way of scaling, just a way of measuring, like just like centimeters and pixels we have, right? So we have something called units as well. So our screen, our viewport, irrespective of the size, irrespective of everything, is being considered to be as a part of 12 units, right? If I try to make out things, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, let's say 11. So there are, let's assume there are like 12 uh, units there, like 12 boxes of equal size which are there inside my viewport. So this basically is known as like this basically is a part of my credits which is considered to be of length of 12 units or a dividend of 12 units, right? So what I can do is I can efficiently use my let's say different grid boxes as one and according to my usage. Just for example, again, my task is to like uh, create something like a table wherein the first box is of a greater length and last two boxes are of smaller length. Let's assume this is 2 times of these two boxes, like 1x, 1x, and this is like 2x here. So what we can do is we can make use of this grids and easily make a box kind of structure and easily make something like I would say divide the units in overall the unit length should be 12 and divided in such a way that they are adjusted and they're made in a perfect way, right? I am not able to like explain you right here, but I'll make a class and I'll explain it this way. So what I'll do is I'll simply give it a heading that I'm learning about grids here, right? Grids. So what I'll do is I'll um, just removing it up first. Right, grids. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a row. Like this is basically a row of mine. This parent has to be a row. This is a row. This entire 12 unit is basically considered to be as a row. Now, if I want to divide it within the row, then what I'll do, I'll make the use of the columns, right? This is my row. Now I'll give my div a class again. a class of, let's say, I'll divide it into columns, and with my column, I want it to be in three different columns, right? So what I'll do is I'll copy the stuff and I'll paste it here. I'll paste it here. What I've done is this is my second div. What I've done here is my third div, and I'm not done anything yet, but I'm giving it a background color, right? I'm going to my style sheet. I'm simply giving my div a background color, let's say of aqua, so that we can get to see, and a border as well. Border of 2 pixel solid green, and let's see what we get. Um, what have I done wrong? Oh, this is also a div. That's why, right? Wait, I'm changing this. I can't change this div, right? I have to select the class here. Just a sec, huh? Select the class as. Give it a width. Let's say I'm giving it a width of 100 pixel. Height as well of pixels. Right. See, now we are able to see that I am having uh, three grids in my three different columns in my row. And what all I've done is basically just created div1, div2, div3, and gave it a class of column. Now I want they're like even right now. They all of them are considered to be like taking the same kind of space. I don't want that. I want the first div to take the maximum space. So what I'll do, I'll give it okay, give it 6 spaces right now, and I want the others to take the rest of the remaining spaces. Well, how can I judge the rest of the remaining spaces? I can judge it in a way that a total of it has to be 12. So 6 plus 3 plus 3 is overall 6 plus 6, that is 12. So if I'll save it, uh, so I gave it a. I need to make a class here as well. Like I'm making one more class that is my div, right? So that the changes which I'm making in my style sheet does not get like wait. I have waited class of the item. Like I can do it. Now it won't change, right? Now what I've done is I've simply made the column there, and now uh, just one more second. It's not have happened. Why is it happening? Let me see. Okay, I've given it a class. I've given it a width. I need to remove the width. I need to remove the width. Now see it's happening. I initially gave the width as well, so that's why see. I just gave you the example of this, right? I was asking you why to just add your style sheet below your bootstrap. Is that if your style sheet is below, then the precedence will be more, and that's why what I gave right inside my div, I gave a width as well, right? I gave a width as well. So this bootstrap initial class, which was being pre-written, is now being overruled by my div, which was being written, right? So right now we just saw that example. So that's why it's important to apply your style sheet below your bootstrap class, right? So be it on any side, let's see again. So now my divs are being considered to be like in a ratio of 2:1:1, right? The first div is like twice times larger than my first div, than my second div and my third div. How is it happening? It is happening because of this size, column size, which I am giving. A total of it has to be 12 only. Let's do one thing. I'm adding one more div here. I'm adding one of my div more here, and I'll simply paste and I'll say fourth div, and uh, and I'll add it here. So now see what happens. The total of it has exceeded the value of 12, right? Let's see what happens. Now the extra div which is being added is being shifted or thrown towards the lower side, towards the bottom side. But what we want right now, just according to our usage, we don't want it to be like let's say we don't want it to be away from our row. Like a row has to be in a total of 12. I don't want it to be exceeding towards the side of my row. What I'll do is I'll adjust this 6 with 3. And now a total of 3, 3, 3, 3 is 12. Now let's see. Yes, it is being equally divided with the grids. I can make it any random value according to my usage. Right, I can make it any random value, but a total has to be 12. If the total exceeds 12, then it's shift towards the other side, like it's shift towards the next row, right? So this is how we can do it. And also this is responsive. This is not responsive right now. This is not responsive right now, right? So uh, we'll make different breakpoints for it to be responsive, right? It is right now like something which is static. You just want it to be column 2, column 3, column 3, and column 4 in all the cases. Rather it be the large screen size, rather it be the smaller screen size. Now, if I want it to be like be little responsive, then what I'll give it, I'll give something which is known as breakpoints in it, right? Right now it was column 6, column 3, and column 3. So in all the screens, it will show the same functionality. It will occupy same space, same divided space, right? It will occupy the same divided space. But now my task is to make this container of mine, this grid of mine responsive, right? Now I want to make it responsive because responsive basically leads towards breakpoints. Like it directly links towards the breakpoints. So what I'll do is I'll tell my I'll tell my computer to break it in a different way, right? Right now I'm not telling that on which breakpoint you need to do what thing. It's just simply fixed for all the stuff, fixed for all the screens. But now I'll be making use of my breakpoints to differentiate between things. So what I'll do is I'll simply say column when the screen of mine is medium, then show me 6. Like uh, from the starting, I'm giving it a class. I'm giving it a class of column 6, right? Initially, column 6, it will take the 6 grids. This 6 grids are, these are basically the grids. 12 grids were part of it, right? A total of 12 was a part of it. Let's assume these are 12. So it will take 6 grids until my screen size reaches medium. After it reaches medium, let's assume I'm changing it from 6 to 4. After it reaches medium, then the grids has to be 12. And if I want in my small screen, the grids to be like, let's say, the grid to contain my column to be like contained inside the entire viewport, the 12, all the 12 units, then I'll simply say it, okay, consider all the 12 units and occupy the entire space, right? This is just for example, I'll be showing you right here. And see, what I've done till now is I've made 4 columns, right? Made 4 columns. I'm making 6 columns. I'm making 6 columns, right? I'm making this is my 5th div. This is my 6th div. And initially, what I want is I'm giving all of them as my, let's say, 3. Just 3 in all the cases. Just a second, 3 in all the cases. Or rather, I could have said 4, but no worries. I've given column 3 to all of my div, and let's see what happens. See, it's being equally divided, and since the 12 of the row is being completely filled, so the 2 divs are being shifted towards the other row. Now, what I'll do is I want that no, when my screen size reduces, when my screen size is less than my medium screen, then I want that only 2 of my grids, that is, this is my first div, this is my second div, then only 2 of my grids, 2 of my divs should be shown in the first row. And what I'll do is I'll simply add another class column. When my screen size turns out to be medium, then I want it to be like covering like somewhat like this, like only 2 divs should be there. And I told you that in a total we have of 12 units. Then how will I divide it? I'll divide it in an equal ratio of 6:6, right? Then I'll say when my screen size is medium, give it a width of 6. And similarly, I'll do it for others as well. And similarly, I'll do it for others as well. I'll save it and see. Uh, have I missed to give it anywhere? Okay, space is not there, right? It's working fine. If I'll increase the size of my viewport, then we'll see, right? How to increase the size, right? Has to be about 12. Just a second now. Column 3, column medium 6. This has to be column large, right? Just a second now, not more than that. Should also have go. Okay, so cool. What we basically missed was we basically missed that okay, when the screen is larger or above the larger size, then it has to be uh, three. We just gave it column three, that considering to be like three just for the static purpose. That's why it was not being ruled there, right? So what we want is when my column has to be like when my screen size is large, then I want my columns to be get equally divided in three units. Then this is how we'll be getting three units, like three units for the first day, for the second day, for the third and the fourth day, right? Then it is total of considering of 12, and the rest are being shifted towards the left side. And soon we'll be encountering the position when my medium screen comes into the play, that the medium screen breaks. Then see, my medium screen breaks after 982, I guess, right? 992, I guess, right? After this 992, what happens is this grid system is being like changed from the size of large screen towards this medium screen. Also, if I want it to be like considering itself to be entire, uh, like covering the entire space of the row when the small screen size comes, right? I want now this to be my first div only, and the second div has to be like below it. That is covering entire 12 units when the screen size is small. And what I'll do is we'll simply say column when my screen size is small, then I'll give it a length at how many grids I want in my system, right? Let's see what happens. Uh, I guess this is okay. Right. Right now I'm in my middle screen, and once I'll encounter this small size, right? Small size less than 776, uh, 767, sorry, 767. Then it turns out to be like covering the entire 12 grid system, covering the entire grid units there, and giving it the proper responsive kind of behavior now. This is like something which is responsive kind of behavior, right? So this is how we can make use of this grid. Uh, and this is all what is written inside this grid stuff. You can go and check it out. We can also use breakpoints of like see we have extra large, you have extra large, you have columns, we have used all of them yet. And if you'll not give any of the styling, like if you just simply write column, then it will divide it automatically and equally, right? So it totally depends upon how many columns are there inside your row. Let's assume for this matter, this row is being ended here, and inside this row there are two columns which is being given. So it will divide itself equally in 6 to 6 part, right? In just in this way, and there are three columns in the below row, so it will divide itself automatically in 4 units, because 4 plus 4 plus 4, that is 4 3 times is 12. That's why. Okay, so uh, give it a read, of course, give it a read. And next thing we want to work over is Z index, right? Z index is little important. So I would say, okay, let's go for the Z index thing. Although I guess I asked you to read about Z index, but in a nutshell, I'm trying to explain things. Again, just for the education purpose, I'm just making this layout. This layout is not like exactly what happens behind the scene, but just for your understanding part. See, let's assume we are having different screen size one over the other. Like I've just made three right now. It can be like infinite kind of screen sizes there, right? So I'm giving different colors to each of them, right? This is my red is my first one. This green is my second one, and let's assume this blue is my fourth one. And I'm making one more that is even above it. That is considered to be like my fourth div, right? Fourth screen, not the div. Okay. So what I want is now whatever styling I do is like basically inside the lowermost layer. This is the lowermost layer. Just for the instance, whatever I styling do in my HTML, in my CSS, and whatever styling I do it inside the lowermost layer. And then once I like we can remember in the case of absolute position, right? In absolute position, it comes out of their normal flow. What happens is from the first, that is from the red one, it comes towards the second one. Second one, that is the one layer above it. I would say it as a layer one, like it is layer root layer. Just these are just the names for your understanding, or these are not like called this way. This is just for understanding. Make sure of it. From the layer root, that is where in the styling is being given. It comes out and it automatically goes towards this layer one. When we use the like when we make the use of absolute position, in the similar way, Z index does the same work. Z index, what it does is it makes different screen sizes Like if I'll provide some property like z index has to be 4 for that particular thing, right? Then this is my first, second, third, and this is my fourth layer. Now this styling which is being done over that layer, like let's assume I was doing my styling over my layer root. Now I want it to be like, no, I want it to be like fixed. I want it to be like given more preference. I don't want it to shift. Then what I'll do is I'll give it a z index of 4. Now that particular styling will not be done over the first layer. It will automatically switch itself towards the fourth layer, and being given the more preference, that is, it is the fourth layer is above the first layer, right? Like this is, we have first, over it we have second, over it we have third, and over it we have fourth. So the fourth layer is above the first layer. So that's why being given the preference, it will be shown above of everything. It will not be like visible to us, but behind the scenes, this is basically what is happening, right? So let us do it this way. How give Z indexes there? I guess this is like important for you to know what happens in this layer kind of stuff. So if you want to try it, like giving a Z index over like the position and different like I want my navbar to be fixed, right? I don't want it to scroll up. I don't want it to go anywhere. So I can do one more practice for that, and I can give it a Z index for that matter, right? So then that navbar will be like switched towards the second layer or the third layer, whatever Z index you give towards that layer, and won't be like a part of layer one anymore, and won't be affected by the text which are there behind my layer one, right? So now what is Z index one? What is that? Like what all values can we give towards the Z index, right? So Z index one is, if you'll not give Z index, like in any of my styling yet, I've not given Z index to any of the thing, right? I've not given Z index. So that is like having a less priority than giving Z index one, right? If I'll give Z index 2, then my Z index 2 will be having, Z2 will be having more priority than Z1. And similarly, the larger will be the number of the Z index. And like, let's say we are having 3, we are having 2, and we are having Z of 1, right? The larger will be the Z index number, and the above will be the layer, and more will be the priority given to it. Like, so that's why we generally, if you don't give Z index to any place and we just want to give it simple 1 to it, just a 1 position, so I'll write it as the index of 1. But if I have given that index multiple places, right, to multiple places, and I forgot that which Z index I get, so I'll simply write any of the random number so that it is being like made towards a 1000th layer. Like this actually does not happen, but just for explanation purpose, it will go towards a 1000th layer, and it will be like given more preference than any of the Z tail, right? So the larger will be the Z index, the better it will be like to work with them. Now we'll move towards CSS grids.
Sir,
Yeah, just a second, coming in. Yes.
sorry to interrupt, sir, but I didn't get this Z index part. Can you please?
Yeah,
explain this?
sure. Okay. Just a second, once more. I'll try to make a better diagram. I'm not good in like, I'm not a sketcher kind of stuff, but okay, I'm trying something level best of mine. Okay. So let's assume this is my sheet one, right? This is my, like you have a copy, do you have a copy in front of you? Let's assume your copy is having just 4 papers or 4 pages, right? This is the last page of your copy, like last page, sheet one, sheet, or I would say the root page, the last page. Above it, I'm having one more layer, like one more sheet I do have in my copy, right? So I'll show it this way. If I like make it this way over the red, then it is not visible. I'm just showing it in a 3D way so that it's little easier to understand, right? And above it, I have one more paper. Let's assume I'm having this paper here, right? And fourth layer, the fourth page above the wall, right? I hope so. Diagram is like not that much messy, right? This is my sheet 2, and this is my sheet 3, and this is my sheet 4, right? Whatever styling I do, like till date I am doing, is I'm doing over my sheet 1, right? This is not the real names, that are, these are just for understanding. There is nothing such like layers which happen. This is just for understanding purpose, right? Now all the stylings, all the HTML, CSS which I've been writing, which I've been giving preferences till date was done over this style sheet. But do you remember when we used the class absolute position? What happened was that absolute was like taking the responsive behavior according to the parent, right? To the parent which is being recently positioned. So we explained in a way that it is coming out of the normal flow, out of the normal flow. That is, it is shifting from sheet one to sheet two, above a layer above it, and being practiced position here, like giving offsets here, right? On the sheet two, let's assume this is my sheet two, and this absolute position was given a div, right? This div was given offsets from the parent which was being recently positioned. So in the similar way, Z index happens. Like in the similar way, Z index takes place. If I want something which I can't give absolute position to everything, right? I can't give absolute position to everything, but I want that has some importance, that has some priority, and I don't want it to be like manipulated by any of the thing. Manipulated as in getting hidden or getting not the exact position from wherein I want it to be. So what I do is I basically give it a Z index. Z index. Now this Z index, basically what happens is I have not given Z index to my style sheet one yet, right? So this means that no Z index has been given to any of the sheets till date. Now what I'll do is if I want my nav bar to get a Z index so that it can be out of the sheet one and remain itself towards the sheet two, or it has to be given some priority, then I'll simply select my element, I'll give it a Z index. Not giving Z index and giving Z index is something which is a little different. Not giving Z index is not having not a priority, not priority, right? But giving Z index means that yes, the Z index is there. Z index one, two, anything is having a priority. So the Z index part will be like more important and will be shown in a better way. Not in a better way, I would say. Uh, will be like in the towards the sheet two, and the sheet one would not be hampering its functionalities. And sometimes it happens that your navbar gets hidden, your navbar gets flown away, your navbar gets scrolled up. So you don't want that, right? So sometimes this happens because of not giving the Z indexes, or other things are getting more priority than it. So that's why we give Z index. So now giving Z index will give it a priority that okay, this is important for us and this we want to show it this way only. So then we give Z index one. But let's assume we have many more elements like this, which needs to be given importance, or which we need to be like given more preference. Then we can do Z2, Z index 2, Z index 3, and so on. Any number. There is no limit to this number. But just keep sure that higher the number will be, the number are directly related to the sheets. Let's we can like relate like that. The higher the number of the Z index will be, the higher will be the priority of the sheets. If I'm having two two elements. Let's say this is on my page two, this is on my page three, and I'm giving Z index three to this and Z index two to this. Then this Z index three will be visible because it is having a high priority. If both the things are having the same functionality, like the same position, the same offset, the same absolute position, everything, but this Z index three will be given the more priority and it will be shown, and the Z2 will be ignored kind of stuff, right? So this like try to relate it with the important stuff. The better, the more will be the Z index value, the more important it is, and it will be over that number of the sheet, right? Just try to understand in that. If still you find the problem, then there is like 5-7 minutes topic over YouTube. You can just check it out from there as well, right? Uh, Not a big thing, but works good for you, right? And I guess we can go for topography, right? Let's take a break of like 1 or 2 minutes. I'll just have a sip of my tea and then we'll be back again, right? Till that, hope so this was clear. I'm opening the code. If you want to try out things, you can try it your way, right? Just a break of like 1 or 2 minutes, or not more than 3-4 minutes, right? Just coming back. Can we increase the maximum grid? No, the max. See, a row is divided in such a way that whenever you're using the value of a row, then this row is can at max take the value of 12. So you cannot increase it more than 12, right? Okay, Prabhav? Hope so. This is clear, right? Okay. So we were on topography, right? Let's be back again. Okay, so topography is related to some text kind of stuff, right? So let's see. Uh, this is how we write the headings, right? H1, H2, H3. So it is showing us this way that all these heading tags are available with us, and the classes are also there H1, H2, H3. Uh, so let's see how we can make use of this classes from H1 to H6 using this paragraph, right? So what I'm doing is I'm making, let's say I'm making a div here, hardly matters. I'm giving it a P. This P of mine is having a class of, let's say, H1, right? It's H1, H1. Class of H1, and I'm typing lorem 5. And in the similar way, I'll be just making the paragraphs, but I'll be adding classes of heading tags there, right? So what I'm doing is I'm simply adding a class. Let's see. Then automatically this paragraph is behaving as if it's a heading tag, right? What is my element? My element is my paragraph. But now, after giving it a bootstrap class of H1, it is automatically like considering itself to be of a greater size, just like that of H1 element which we give. But actually, it is a paragraph. So we can make use of it, and we can make use of different classes. The class text muted. See, text muted, what it does, it makes the text little faded kind of stuff. So we can use text muted for that. If you want, then we can use this as S5 and text muted. Let's see. This is little faded kind of stuff, right? So that's what we can do. Similarly, we have displays, right? The way we made like H1, right? This is my H1. I'm having my heading one with display one, right? Just a heading. Don't worry about it. So what I'm doing is this is my heading one. Heading wrong spelling, but it's okay. Heading one with display one. Just focus on the size right now, and what class I'll be adding. Focus it after that. What I'll do is I'll simply add a bootstrap class of display, right? Uh, I'll add a bootstrap class of display. It's I guess display only, right? The entire display word, right? Uh, I'm writing the class as display one. If I'll add it and check my document part. Now see, the heading is being like improved a bit more. The size is being increased. Uh, for the comparison purpose, I'm just copying it this way. I'm not adding a class in the second one. So let's see. See, this is the work of this display class, which has been there in our Bootstrap. So we have different displays as well. The way we had H1s, right? The way we are having displays here. So if you want to increase the size of your particular heading or any of the thing, then you can use of it. You can make use of it. Like, uh, let's see, will it work on the paragraphs or not? If I'm giving it a H5, I'm removing H5 and giving it a display one, right? Giving display one. Let's see. Uh, then yes, it is also being encountered, so it can be used for any of the element, right? Cool. Uh, Going forward, lead is something like your paragraphs. You want your little paragraph to be like little different from the other ones, right? Let's assume I'm removing this class, or should I add some more paragraphs here? I think I should add. I do not know. Six, and I want these paragraphs to be like given a break tag so that it is easily visible. I want this my middle paragraph to be look little like different in size as compared to the other paragraph. So what I'll do is I'll simply give it a class of lead, and I'll see. Uh, you see that this was also a paragraph, but now its size is coming to be little larger, as well as the font size is increasing, right? So this is how you can make it stand apart. So lead is using for that, and we have different elements to highlight and all these things. So we have the example here to mark is it will be by marked with the orange, yellow, whatever color is it. U stands for underline and all this stuff. This is our HTML, like this was our HTML, and we can do it using the classes. That is, these are the classes: class mark, class small. We can add it that way, and I guess like we can go through it and check for different stuff. Not a big thing till now. Okay, so we'll be going towards the images. So okay, so I'm using this thing. Right. I'll simply add an image over my. I'm adding one more section. Adding one more section. Inside the section, I'll be adding my image. And inside the image, let's assume I'm going to my unsplash.com. Towards my Unsplash, and I'll be copying any of the image from there. Like I'll be copying image address. I give it a source, and I give it a width of, let's say, 300 pixel. It's a wrong way to do it, but just doing it for education purpose, right? This is my image. Now, what I want my corners of the image to be like little, like curved and a few more functionality like this. Then we do have the classes like rounded. Like if I'll add the class rounded, then let's see what happens. Inside the image, I'll be adding a class. Inside the class, I'll be writing it like rounded. Then let's see for my document. See, there are the edges which are being like the border radius which you used to give in pixels, right? Small curved is there towards the edges. So that is what is the use of this rounded. And if I want to give it a float, right, then see what it float ends on, actually, right? Float ends or its end. Just a second. Float end, right? Float end. Let's see what happens to our document. A document will directly flow towards the right side of the container. And since it's in a container, so it's giving it a margin as well. So it will flow towards the right side. And if I give it a float start, then it will be like flow towards the starting side, right? These are the like classes with MX auto, like MX stands for margin. It will get automatically give the margin. X in the margin in the X direction. X stands for like your horizontal line. MX auto, right? Then if I am giving it not a flex start, I'm just removing flex start. I'm giving it a MX auto, and automatically it will be like covered towards the. Just a second. X auto. Why is it not MX? Oh, I had to make it display. Initially, I had to make it a display block, right? Right. Just a second. Now it will work. Right. So initially, if I want to use this margin auto, right, then how we can use it? I initially know that my image is my inline block, right? And inside my inline block, I cannot use this, like I cannot shift its size. I can give it a margin, but this is not possible in this way. So initially, I need to make my element as block element. So this D block stands for display block. D block stands for basically display block. This you will be using very oftenly. Display block. And since you turn the functionality from inline to display, then it's like possible to use any of the like what we say that any of the box model properties. So if I'll not give it a margin, then it will be like in the original position only. But if I want it to be like center aligned, then I don't know how much space is there, right? So I'll ask it automatically calculate the size and give me the space between the like give me the element in the middle of my viewport, giving it an automatic space. So this is how we can do it. And just moving on to the next class is text center. Also, like let's assume I'm having some text inside it, right? So I can make it center as well. Text align text towards the center. Like for example, um, uh, I'm having a paragraph here. Having a paragraph here, and I am writing it like lorem 4 lorem 4. How is it shown? Lorem 4 is there, right? And now if I'm giving it a let's say class text center, class was text center. Let's see what happens. Now the class applied towards that paragraph is now automatically adjusting its size from initially it was starting of it, but now it's considered to be now the center. So this is how we can make use of different classes which are present with us. So it's just like you need to go through all the elements which are present towards the left side of your Bootstrap documentation part and like try out different things from here. Like we do also have the tables, right? We made tables with the see this is how we made tables, right? Tables row, table column, table head, table body, table footer is missing, but we told about table footer as well. So you can just go to the documentation part and see it that way. Few important things which I want to discuss from here is that uh, just a second, let me check it from here. Input group automatically made, right? Layout, I go to the layout. forms. Like for example, you need to make the forms kind of stuff, right? You don't want to make it your way. You want all this functionality to be there. You'll simply do one thing. Okay, you want your form to look like this. You'll simply copy the code or just select the entire thing and copy the code. What you do is you will make another section. And inside the section, just simply paste the code. If I'll paste the code, let's see what happens to my documentation part. Then see, automatically this field is being added. I can write my email, I can write my passwords, I can write any of my addresses, right? City and that. Let's assume from this, you don't want that, you don't want to display this state, zip and city, or yeah, you don't want your address to be visible. So you will simply go to that place that this is your address too. And you don't want it to be visible, right? So you'll simply remove it off and continue there. You'll remove and yes, the functionality still works. The things are still there, right? And let's assume now this sign in button, you're not liking the sign in button. So what you can do is you can go again to the Bootstrap. Uh, we have different components here. One of them is the buttons. If you go to the button, then we have different kind of buttons which are there. Right now, it is using the primary button. If we see the documentation part, it's blue and something with the blue and something with white in it. This is same as that of primary. Now I don't want it to be primary. I want it to be like, let's success. I want it to be success. And how this success button comes. So this is the class by which the success button comes to us. So what I'll do, I'll simply write button success. I'll copy it from here. I'll go to my style sheet. I'll see where my sign in button is. Okay, this was my button primary, but I don't want it to be button primary. I just want it to be button success. Then see what happens. Now the color of it being changed, like it is showing in a greener way, and the similar way we are having different kind of different type of buttons: the primary, the secondary, success, danger, warning, for dark, light. We have different stuffs, and this is also like quite a like simple what we say simple buttons, right? This is something little like a little more uh, looking pretty in nature, right? Like it is initially having a border and a color in it, but once we hover over it, then it automatically takes the color of which it needs to be. Like warnings generally are written in white or written in yellow, and danger sign is always red. Success is like when we find something like, okay, this is completely done, then we give it a green check. Secondary is like somewhere gray, and primary is like uh, bluish, right? So now I don't want my button to like look just like a constant green color. I want it to be like when I hover over it, then this green color comes. So what I'll simply do, I'll simply copy this button outline success class. I'll go to it. I'll go where I need to paste it. This button has to be there. I'm simply changing this button success to button outline success. And let's see what happens. See, it is showing me a sign in, and once I'll hover over it, or once I'll click over it, then see, I can go to like, why am I doing? Like once I'll click over it, my hovering is not possible right now. So it'll turn out to be green, right? So these are like different kind of buttons we can make use of. We can also uh, uh, right. If I something want like, okay, this is my button, but I don't want it to work right now. I don't want it to be like uh, I don't have a form functionality, right? If you like enter your details here, let's assume we are entering details and blah blah blah, and where will I be storing it? I don't have any backend data in front of me, right? So I want this sign in button not to work. So what I'll do is I'll use this class. I'll use this attribute, sorry, not the class. I'll use this attribute disabled. What I'll do is I'll simply go to my button, and once my class get ends, after the class or before the class, that totally depends. I'll simply use this attribute are disabled. Then see what happens to my button is that if even if I'm trying to click it now, it is not being clicked because I've given it a class of disabled. Right now, this functionality involved will not work. So this disabled is being like given in this way. And what if you want it to be, let's say, okay, table index tab index. This is fine. Okay, now you want your button to take the entire width. So what will you do? You will basically be giving it a like class of gap to degrade, right? So I'm making a button here, right? Inside my button, I'll be adding a class of degrade. Let's see what happens with the degrade. Once I give it a class of degrade, see this I've made it disabled, right? I'm making it enable. Uh, Making it enable here, right? So once I click it, the entire button is being like taking the entire space over of my container width, which is being there. So right. entire string is being given. Why? Because of this display grid. And gap 2 is basically you want it to be like in a gap. So let's see what gap 2 does to it. I'll give it a gap 2. Go to my documentation part. Second, have I done something wrong? Is it not scrolling down? Okay. I guess there's not much of the difference which is being like visible to us. So okay, like we can go out to the MDN, oh sorry, not MDN, Bootstrap classes which are there. We can add multiple buttons at the same time. This is we can simply copy paste as well if we like something. Okay, I just want this to be entirely same as that of mine. I'll simply copy paste it from there. And see, this is also having a class of active. When we add an active class, it's like little darker than the normal one. So active means that, and uh, toggle and all these things. You need to like go through it and read about. Oh, I just forgot to tell about this variable stuff. Right, I'll just explain CSS variables once we'll be ending through it. Right. Okay. Button groups. We can basically link 2, 3 buttons at the same time, right? Left, right, middle, or when we generally play the games, right? We have buttons next to each other. So this is how we can do it. Okay. So now we are having card kind of thing, right? Card stuff. Like if I go to my any doubt still here, like I know I'm explaining things in faster way, but any doubt still here because this is like something which you need to read from the documentation and implement it side by side, seeing the results. Any doubts still here? No doubts. So exactly. These are something like related towards the documentation. You don't need to remember. Slowly and gradually, let's assume if you're working with them for next like 1 or 2 months, then you, some of the properties will be like like will be stored in your head automatically. So sometimes you don't need to remember things. But yeah, of course, there are 1 or 2 properties that you will definitely need to learn. So that will come with time. So no worries with that. Okay, so if I go to my Flipkart page, right, Flipkart page, then I can see that this is a basically card kind of stuff. This is basically a card kind of stuff. A card is there, and information about the card is there, price is there, and best discounts. All these things are available. This is basically a card being copy pasted again, again, and again. If I scroll there, then these are also part of cards only. Same goes for here. Right. So what I'll do is I'll directly go to the cards and I'll select which card is like most suitable for me. I want a card with the image and just the text. No, I don't want that. I want a card with image, a title, text, and an option. Also, I think it's more of functionality. Then I'll simply try to find the most suitable card for me. Then I I said okay, this is something which is good for me. Image, title, some content, and let's say go somewhere. I like it, so I directly copy it from here. I'll go to my again a section. Inside the section, I'll simply copy paste it. Right. See now, let's see what happens. Uh, right. Let me do one thing. I'll just comment the above part so that, or should I not? I'll give it a break. Like it's better. I'll give it a break. Right. This is a card which is there in front of me, and let me copy this image address from here. I'm copying my image address. I'll go to my source. The source is here. I'll simply paste my source here. And card title, I would say I want to buy, I guess, buy this dinosaur. I want to buy this dinosaur, and I am making some random content there. Go somewhere, ki jagah, I'll simply ask it to, I'll simply ask it to buy this dinosaur, right? We'll go to the documentation part. Then yes, I can see it's a kind of product only, right? Uh, there's a dinosaur which is there, some content about the dinosaur, like this is like 1,000 million years ago they used to exist. And now if I want to buy it, I'll simply click on the buy. And since we don't have any backend functionality, so it's directly rendering me towards the top of the page because I must have given it the href of hash. So simply I can do it this way. Or let's assume uh, we're making a grid kind of system, right? So what I'll do is I'll again make a column, sorry, again make a class of row. And inside the row, I have inside that row, I have my column. Again, inside my columns, I'll simply copy paste it. This is one of my columns. This is, let's assume I'm having uh, two in each of my columns, right? And having two columns for that. This is just a markup. Not done anything yet. Right. This is my second column. Right. This column will take, let's say, uh, column will take 12 minutes. Or I can even ignore this in a way that just a second, I can ignore it this way as well. Right? 12. I give it class of column 6 each. Right. I have a column 12, like I have two columns basically, right? Inside my row, I have two columns. I want two things. So my both the columns will be containing 12 units each, right? So inside my column, I have one more div wherein I'll be giving a class of column 6 so that it can be divided in an equal part, right? Column 6 class will be given to all the cards which I've made, to all the copy pasted cards, right? Column 6, I'll simply copy and let's see what happens, right? It is coming in a different line. Why is it so? Inside my 12, I went a card column 6. This should have come in a single row. I think I need to remove this. I simply, it's not of any use to me. Of any use to me. And I'll remove it out. Let's see. Yeah, see. Now what I'm getting is I'm getting inside my row, I'm getting two cards, one after the other. They both are occupying uh, equal spaces, whichever is possible right now. Now what I'll do is I want it to be like let's say I want three cards in a row. So simply what I'll do is I'll change this styling from this to 4, and last one will also be getting the column of 4. Um, why is that happening? So okay, now it's better, right? Now it is occupying the maximum of it. Like once it touches the like what we say touches the minimum width possible, then it turns out to be like in a responsive kind of behavior, right? In a responsive kind of behavior automatically, right? So this is how we can make use of this grids, and you guys can make a Flipkart kind of stuff right now. You can make this fixed name bar. Like I don't want all the functionalities. I just want the name bar to be fixed and having any random values in it. And you can make products kind of thing using this grid system. This cards can also be directly taken from the Bootstrap. Also, like it is easy for you to make it now, right? So do one thing, try to make it a replica of like if one more kind of stuff you have weekends with you, try to make a replica kind of stuff of let's say replica of either Flipkart or any of the website which you like, right? Flipkart, or let's say you want to make it of Spotify. Like don't make it exact, don't like waste your time over like 3-4 hours over just one functionality. Just try to implement different functionalities and learn by using in a live project, right? You can do it this, you can do it this, or and it's totally up to you. And you can go to Amazon, or let's say you can go to Twitter itself. You can go to Twitter itself. You can try out the layout of it, right? So like use any of the like reference good websites which are having good functionality, which have good UI UX type of thing, right? So just try it out so that the bootstrap thing gets clear to you guys, and there is like no more hesitation while using the bootstrap. It is important to use it side by side. Also, we'll be learning about, okay, so carousel is something which is yet to discuss. Okay. So what is a carousel? You must have seen that there are like images which keep on going at the times, right? Like this is my second slide. So let's say this is my first slide. If I click on it, it'll turn out to me, like, take me to the next slide. And similarly, third, fourth, fifth, like similarly, how many slides you want, it totally depends on you. So what I'll do is I want this one, right? I want this one to be a little better. I'll simply copy the paste, copy the code. I'll make one more section. Inside that section, I'll simply copy paste my carousel, which I directly took from here. Now I want to give it a source so that I want it to look a little realistic, right? I'll this is a good image. I copy image address. I'll be giving it to the source directly. Source, and This is also good. Copy image address and simply give it to the second source. And let's say this is looking nice. Copy image address and simply give to the third one, right? Let's see how will it be shown to our website, right? So this is how we are able to see our carousel. If I click on the right side, I'll take me to the next page. If I click on this right side arrow again, it will take me to the next page, right? So I can also click here to get back and go there, right? So this is basically the carousel stuff, right? This is how carousel works. Like it is automatically also there. If I'll just not click anywhere and if I'll just wait for some particular amount of time, then it is automatically changing. How is it changing? That functionality is being written inside this JavaScript CDN, right? I've not written any of the JavaScript yet. This is being already pre-written inside this JS delivery network, that is a CDN of Bootstrap. So if you not add this up, let's see what happens. If I'll not add this up, let's see, will it change automatically with time? So we are just waiting for 5-7 seconds. It is not changing yet, and it will not even change manually, even if I'm clicking, because the click event and all these functionalities are done by JavaScript. So if I'll just uncomment it again and save it, then I'll not do anything. Then it will automatically change because of the set timeout functionality, which is being pre-written in it, right? So I can also click, and I can also wait for it to change for like automatically change. I guess I need to refresh it. Right. Okay. Let's see. It will change automatically. Right now, it must not be like that visible with time, but it will change. The functionality is being written, and I can also use the click events just to make things change. Right. So this is about carousel in Bootstrap. You can directly copy paste and add your fields accordingly. Uh, uh, this close part. This is like you can figure it out on your own. Now, okay, model is also like useful kind of stuff. See, model is something which, for example, if you are having something like, let's say, okay, I'll try to explain it that way, right? What you do is whenever you click on some of the website, like this is my viewport. I have some of the content here and a button here. If I click on the button, you see something which appears on your screen and like not a pop-up kind of stuff, but something which appears on your screen and gives you a content or allow you to click on a button and a cross sign is there. This is basically a model. We'll be using it further. So this is basically what model is. It is like a pop-up kind of stuff, but not exactly the pop-up, right? So uh, pop-up is this, like if I'll copy it up, I'll paste it randomly somewhere. Let's see how will it be shown. It will not be shown like basically it depends on the trigger events right now. So it is something which we'll be using further. So no need to worry about it. Just read it out and get the basic gist of it. So we are having name bars as well, right? We are having automatically pre-written name bars rather than just sitting and writing your own. We have drop downs in it and many other stuff. Like this is basically disabled. We can see we cannot click over it because we have given it attribute disabled. So if I'll try to if I'll copy this name bar, I'm making the changes in one page only so that this entire bootstrap is over one category with you guys. So hopefully that won't be a problem. Right. I'm getting the label bar towards the bottom. If I'll increase the size, let's see what happens. Right. I'm removing this and it is looking nice. Let me paste it on the top. Let me paste it on the top only. Right. Inside the body, I have let's say I have a section here. Placing it and right. So I'm getting a name bar here. I'm not like entitled it inside that container. It is completely getting full with, right? So it is getting a drop down option here. It is getting different options. I can also search over this place. So now I don't want this search part in my name bar, and I also don't want this disabled to be like look this way. So what I'll do, I'll simply remove this disabled class from here, and what I'll do is I don't want my search bar there, right? So I'll directly see what the search bar is. It's a form. I'll remove it this way. Right, cool. So I'm not having a search bar right now, and this disable is now being like we are able to click it. We'll be able to click it, and this drop down is of course there. And let's do one thing. I don't want it to be like with the background light, I want it to be the dark background. I'll simply say BG dark. Then I can see that this is a dark background which is coming behind me. And if I want my text to be like text to be in a lighter content, so what was the class for it? Let us just do it here. BG light. I think I'll do it. Let's see. Let's see. Da, 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 da. Background light. I guess that was text only. Uh, Also, we have different forms of name bar in front of me. Like I can use any of the way, whatever suits me the most. So we can even manipulate it with the other ways as well. Like I am just trying this way. I just forgot the because we cannot remember the property, right? Text LZ. Will it give me that? Or text LZ, not the text light. Let it be. I can change it from dark to again light. Right. I can change dark to light and save it, and this background automatically turns itself to a whiter section. So this is how we can change the bootstrap as well. Or if simply I want to encounter this, right? I want to encounter this name bar. So I'll go to my style sheet. This was my class, right? So I'll give it a class of name bar. I want to give it a color of, let's say, I want to give it a color of red. So let's see. Now this, what happened? Anchor tags, right? The anchor tags inside it. Right. These are basically the anchor tags inside my name bar. So I need to give the color of red to the anchor tag. It's not the anchor tag, so that's why it is not being encountered. This must be some paragraph or something else. So we basically can encounter it using our own style sheet as well. And if we want like our name bar to get a background color or something, let's see. Background color of, let's say, blue, will it be getting? Uh, why is it not getting exactly? It must have been given important, or that's why maybe, if I go to my again anchor tag, then all the properties are being like ampered and changed. So this is you have to look forward for, and like you can change according to your usage. So that's totally fine. That is what Bootstrap is meant for. You can change according to your usage as well. Now I guess most of the things are being covered in like these are okay. So positions are it's left like so. Similarly, we can despite of giving it a class, like I can give it a fixed top position. The different positions which we learned is this like sticky top, sticky bottom. So you can check it out in the helper section as well. The positions are also there. Go to the helper section and positions are there. Just to give them a read. So you'll get to know about positions as well there. And I hope so. Most of the basic things are covered. This border you guys can do on your own. Border top, border end. Uh, yeah, border top is easy. Color, giving the color, and yeah, nothing much to with this display. Yeah, this display property is there, which I was talking about. This display can be display none, display inline block. These are the things which we gave, right? So to give it display inline like this, display block we initially gave, right? Let us do one thing. I'll make it. I'll make my name bar only. I make my name bar right now. This is my name bar, right? I want to give it a property of display. Let's say none. It will not display. It should not display anything. Let's see what happens. If I go to my documentation part now, see I'm not able to like get my what is that? Get my name bar back. My name bar is not visible to me. And if I'll again do it like display inline, let's see what happens. Now this name bar is being like shown back again, but if I inspect it, let's see. After inspecting it, is it occupying the entire space? Yes, it is occupying. So not an issue with that. And if I do it display block, then again it will show me the same property because it has been created in such a way, right? Then it is again being showing the same functionality, but only thing which we can do in this case right now is like to just make it display none, and it will not be shown over it, right? So we'll not do it. We don't do that thing. I want my image to be like not to be displayed, right? So we can do it in that way. Where is my image? Okay, this is my image, right? If I'll not write this display block, right? This MX auto will not work. Where is my image? Right, this MX auto will not work here. But now I want this display not to be shown, right? I'll simply like display none and do my image is gone. Like it is not. This is the different image, right? This was a car image which we encountered. So if I want it to be just display inline only, then I can do it that way as well. Inline, I can do it that way as well. Then it is coming back, but MX Auto will not come because we are not using it. This is an inline, and we want to make it block in order to work with the this functionality, right? So this is how we can make use of display properties. There are also many different properties. Check it out once, please. Opacity we discussed earlier, shadows, and like these are like you go through them, try and test different things which are there, and simply it's just a copy paste work from your framework that Bootstrap is a framework, right? It's just a copy paste kind of stuff from there, and like your hands-on implementation is there, so nothing to like worry about. And even if you're not finding it the right way to like do things, just Google it out and figure your stuff. It's easy, not a big thing, but it's just need some hands-on to do it, right? So this bootstrap is little clear in your head how to use classes, how to like intent things. The two main important aspect is always add your links towards the top and the bottom. This is really important. If you not do it, none of the bootstrap class will work. Nothing will be shown. So if things are not visible, then please do check out this way, because this is like the most underrated thing which people don't remember to add in their style sheets. Sorry, add in their HTML sheet, right? So just remember this. This is important, and rest you guys can easily see from the Bootstrap documentation, right? Okay, so this is basically all about the CSS. Oh, okay, the CSS variables. The last thing which we are discussing about CSS, that CSS variables, right? Now, why do we want CSS variables and what they exactly are? Let's see. See, let's assume I am having an image. Sorry, I'm having my page. This is my viewport, wherein I'm using uh, this div. This is my div. This div again and again. This div is having my. Okay, I'm using different divs here, and I want all of them to get a color of, let's say, a blue color. And I don't want to like regularly go and add blue color everywhere. And I don't want it to be like uh, write my different functionalities, write my different stuff there, right? So what we'll do is I'm making another folder for this, a very small topic, but I guess important as well. CSS variables, text.html and style.css. Go to my index. I'll simply copy it here. There is no need of bootstrap in it, so no need to add it out there for the CSS variables. Like heading as CSS variables, right? CSS variables, right? What I want to do is I have a section. Inside a section, I have, let's say, I have 5 divs, right? I have 5 divs, and div one. If I'll copy this stuff, I'll this way there. I have 5 divs, and if I want to give my div a styling, I'll give it a div of with, let's say, 100 pixel, a height of 200 pixel again, and let's say a background color of background, right? Let me run it. I'm going to give it a border, right? I need to give it a border as well. I'll give it a border of, let's say, 2 pixels, solid black, and I want it to be like in a row. I'll simply use display inline block. Easy, right? Display inline block. It's working fine now, right? Now I don't want to add this color aqua in this way. Like I don't want to write aqua in this way, right? So what I'll do is I'll simply go towards the top of my style sheet. Now, why are we going towards the top? Like, I hope you guys know about the scope. We need to tell about the scope as well. So inside my top, I'll simply write just as a root. I'll encounter my root. This root is basically the HTML, that all the HTMLs and the child can access this CSS variable which I'm trying to make, right? I'll just give it a heading, right? CSS variable. CSS variable in making, right? In making. So what I'll do is I'll simply like tell them what I want. Okay, I want my color of div. I'll simply say the two double dashes, and inside that I can give the name in any of the way I want. I want this to be basically the variable name, uh, and now I'll give it a property. Like what property I want. Okay, I want the color of it to be like let's say uh, color of it to be like not this one, sorry. I want it to be like what's that? Aqua. Color was aqua, right? It is aqua. I'll simply save it. Now, what I'll do is I'll simply go to my just a second, just a second. What are you asking? Is it mandatory to add JavaScript CDN just before the body tag ending? Now you can write it in the above as well, but it's a good practice to write. It's a good practice to write. Really sorry, yeah. It's a good practice to write towards the end of the body tag, but you can add it anywhere else. So that's not a big issue. But no doubt, Bootstrap helped the developer to code quickly, but don't you think it decreases the creativity of the developer? But sometimes, the creativity is not like the main concern which we are looking forward for. Like, see, you generally want to work on the functionalities, not about the designing parts. We are front-end developers for like just being responsible for the front-end thing, and we have different kind of developers with us, right? So let's assume you work for a company, you work for a backend thing, like you worked on a backend thing. So then it is not necessary for you to learn everything about the different classes. You can directly use the Bootstrap and switch on things. So the main part will be working on the routes, working on the APIs. So it depends totally upon your interest as well. Like if you really want to switch yourself towards the front end only, like so in that way you can very well make use of that Bootstrap. Bootstrap basically what it does it gives you a building, right? It gives you a building which is not very pretty. Making the building pretty is totally in your hand. Like how to design stuff, that is totally in your hand. So I won't say the creativity turns down. It's like your efficiency increases and your your work reduces for writing same thing again, again, and again. This is beneficial. There is no harm with using it, right? So where were we? We were on the like yeah this root element. This yes, tell me. Sorry, who's speaking? Your voice is little less, huh? Arshita, are you like asking something? I'm not able to get you.
No, sir.
I guess you said no, so I'm switching back to CSS variables, right? Okay, so this is basically the variable which I'll be using instead of using this aqua as a color. So what I'll do is I want my color to be aqua, right? So what I'll do, I'll directly make use of my variable. I'll write it as, okay, I'm using the variable and it automatically gave me a suggestion. Okay, you have made a variable naming this. So do you want to use this? I said, okay. If I'll save it this way, let's see. Yes, I'm getting this sign color of mine by a variable. Let's assume I'm changing this color aqua from, let's say I'm giving it a value of let's say any random value. I'll say 1, 0, just adding a hexadecimal number, any random number, except I don't know what number is it, but just giving any random number. So if I'll go, then yes, this variable of mine is allowing me to do different stuff. Like I can similarly add different variables if I want to make it a text color, right? I want to make this as a text color. I want to make my text color as white. Then what I'll do, I'll give it a color. I'll simply add variable. I'm using my variable stuff, and inside me it is giving me options. So I'll like go to my text color. Oh, text color is obviously white. Let's make it little reddish. I'm sorry. So the text inside the div is like coming out to be red. So this is how you can make use of your CSS variables, and always remember to make it inside the root. Uh, always, sorry, CSS variables. Always define variables in, like always define variables inside root element, right? Inside. The reason is scope, right? I'm simply writing scope so that you guys get to know. So that this HTML is your root, right? So from this HTML, you can like access it any of their child, access it any of the descendants, like so that it is available for all of the elements which are present in our body. So that's why, because of the scope purpose, always define it inside the root element. And how we can define it, I'll simply copy paste this small stuff from here, and I'll simply copy paste that small stuff from here, and I'll paste it this way. This will help you a bit in understanding stuff. And I guess we are done with the CSS part as well. CSS Bootstrap is done till now. CSS and the framework of CSS, that is Bootstrap, is done. So kudos to you. At least, yeah, you are through with the front end, like 50-60% of the front end style main part. Only the JavaScript is now left. So I think it's better to start with JavaScript from the next class, but we can start like just with the basic information that what JavaScript is and why are we using it. Just the basic normal information exchange, not like going dive deep into it. So I would like, if we tell about the theory of JavaScript, like so JavaScript was originated in 1995, and uh, at the, we would say उससे पहले websites used to be like static, right? Websites used to be static before that, right? Before 1995, before JavaScript originated, the websites were like static before that. So there was a person, I guess Brendan Eich, uh, Brendan Eiche. I'm not sure of the spelling, but I guess Brendan Eich is the person who was a creator of JavaScript, and he created JavaScript in like just 5 days. He made this entire uh, programming language, JavaScript or scripting language, JavaScript in 5 days. But later on, the improvements were, of course, there. Like upgrades were always welcome. They are welcome till date. So he made this JavaScript website, right? So initially, if you remember, I told you that your browser has two main layouts, right? Your browser has two main layouts. It is having like one is the JavaScript layout. Oh, it is having two engines. Sorry, it is having two engines. Really sorry. It is having two engines. One is the JavaScript engine, and other is the layout engine. Really sorry. One is the JavaScript engine, and the other is the layout engine. Right. So I told you about the layout engine is responsible for HTML and CSS, reading this HTML and CSS, and whereas this JavaScript engine is responsible for reading about the JavaScript things. This we have seen. So the work of layout engine, we already know that it is automatically transferring things. So now we'll be starting from the next class about this JavaScript engine, that how this JavaScript is being acted towards, I'd say towards our browser, and how the things are we getting inside our browser, right? So basically, I would say JavaScript is basically the interactivity, right? JavaScript is basically the interactivity between you and your website, you and your web page or website, whatever you want to say. Right now, you're working on web pages, not websites. So you and your websites. So as we just saw in our Carousel example, right? Inside the Carousel example, if I'll just run it again. So we are able to like click over it and do some functionality, right? You are able to click and change the image. You are able to click here and change the image. This is basically adding as an interactivity. This is because of JavaScript. This is what it means by adding the interactivity towards your browser and all. If, for instance, I want to give you an example, then we can go to CodePan calculator, I would say. CodePan calculator. And if I do it here, right, we are getting the ways of different calculators which is present in front of us. I'll go for this, right? So it is showing me the different, like if I reduce the size, can I reduce the size of it? Hold on, let me try to find out something which is easier for you to know. Right, this is the code written. Okay, this is my calculator. Now I want to multiply a few terms, right? I'm clicking on 9. JavaScript is not written here, so that's why. See, It is looking good. It is having all the features of a calculator, but since this JavaScript is empty, so we cannot do any of the functionality. I'm clicking on the buttons, but nothing is happening, nothing is showing, right? So this is basically the work of JavaScript. Let us see that do we get any of the calculator? Yeah, the functionality is being written in this one. Let's do one thing. If I want to click on it, I'll click on it. This 8 is being displayed on my template. So this is because of this JavaScript. I want to multiply 8 with, let's say, a number 72. If I'll go with the equality sign, it will simply show me the output. If I want to remove things, I'll simply click. If I want to remove one digit, I'll click 789. If I want to remove one of the digits, I'll use this single backtick. And if I want to remove all the digits, then I'll simply click on the C. Basic functionality, we are able to do 2.3 plus the sign is there, like plus is up, right? Plus sign is up, and plus 9. So it is giving me 11.3, right? So all the functionalities, all the variable stuff is being written inside this JavaScript. If I scroll it down, so this is how we write JavaScript. This is for CSS styling, and this is your basic template. So I hope so you got to know about what JavaScript is responsible for and what is it not. Also, one thing, JavaScript engine is being written inside C++ only, right? This JavaScript engine is written in C++ only. JS engine is being written in C++ only because C++ is very fast, right? So this JS engine is written in C++, right? Also, we'll start with the primitives from the next class. Like I'm not telling about primitives, so let's be in a proper flow from the next class. So this was just a basic intro about JavaScript, how it originated, and what we are going to do with it from the next class onwards, right? So I hope things are clear. Is that anyone who is not is it mandatory? Oh, sorry, I gave the answer of this, right? Like, I hope so. Things are clear to all of us, and there is no doubts with how to add on our CDNs and how to check out the documentation and implementing it, right? Is it clear with every one of us, right? Are we through with the HTML, CSS, and we got a glimpse and the taste of it, right? Oh, yes, sir. That's pretty nice, yeah. I don't know how you did it, but you're making the proper use of your CSS. Right, that's great. That's great. Uh, clear. I expect everyone to do with the homework part, please. Yeah, just try to implement things so that if you stuck yourself somewhere, like make any of the replica, try to make and implement any of the functionalities of them because that will be really helpful for you for like when you'll be working with the Nagarro or for that any other organization for that matter. So that will be really helping you out. So do check out different stuff, do read documentations, and don't restrict yourself from trying different things. Don't be in a fear of not getting the outputs. That is very common thing. If you'll not get the output, then how will you learn it properly, right? So just try out things and try to make stuff. And if you are blocked, like if you're stuck with one or two topics that that were not clear, just read out the documentation, or you can easily YouTube is available with you. A small just look for the small topic. Nice, Gaurav. Look for the small topic and watch for a 2, 3, 4 minute video. Not like spending 2 hours. Then that's not a good stuff. It's better to go for documentation. If a small topic of 2, 3, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, unable to access the OneNote link. How is it possible that others are able to access the OneNote link? Can you just let me know, please? Because I've open for all. Like no one can edit it, but you guys can access it, right? I've given the access to everyone. That is open for all. Others are also not able to access the OneNote. Yeah. Yes, sir. Accessible. Abhi, I'm just sharing the link again. There, it is accessible, right? Able to access. Rather like making me feel complex, yeah, by writing all this stuff. Just a second. I'll just give my link once again. Where is it? Yeah, I'm pasting the link once more. I don't know why you are not able to access it. Maybe because you are not logged in, or there could be any other reason. But it is open for all. Anyone can access it, right? And if you are facing a difficulty in accessing it, so next time, what I can do is I'll spend 5, 6 extra minutes to get a snapshot of the things. But this is the only alternative I have right now because it is visible to others and not to you. So there must be some problem from your end, I guess. But I guess you will be able to resolve it. And Of course, GitHub is there in front of you. I'll just push the code as well. I'll push the code as well, right? Right, like just it is there. This is lecture 6, Bootstrap and JS intro. Okay. Get vision. Our vision is main here, I guess. Okay, things are done. The code is being updated. Like, let me just check it out. Yeah, the code is being updated. I have used the image component, but it comes to be huge size, how to make it small. So you have width properties as well in your Bootstrap. Just go through the different sections. Find there that there would be some properties like W/75, 50, 25. There are different properties with width as well. You can manipulate it that way, or you can simply use the class which is being given there. Sir, we have to sign in with the Outlook before accessible. Right, exactly. I just, I guess, told about the same thing that your there's some login issue with from your end, right? So just log in with your OneNote ID or the Microsoft ID, whatever is it. Then I guess you will be able to uh, check out them, right? So the components are present, different components are there, so you need to check out for the width as well. Just giving you a hint, the W slash 50/75 /100 are different properties which are there, but go to Bootstrap and check it out. Give it a class, and then it will happen according to your users, right? Or even make a external CSS and use the class and follow the steps, right? Hope so. The things are clear, and now you guys are about to be perfect in JavaScript as well. So practice HTML and CSS this entire weekend. Make your projects. Be ready with the assignments. Before the next class or on the next class, you'll be getting the portal to submit your assignment as well as works. So be ready with that. You have 2 days. Revise things, and best of luck for that. Right. So cool. I've updated the code, and I have like shared the OneNote link. Yeah. I guess we can end with the session, right? We can end with the session now. Okay, so study hard, and we'll meet again pretty soon. Take care. Bye. All the best.